1, 2, 1, 2. Here we go. Welcome to the Catalyst Podcast, raw, real, and unedited. My name is Jason, and you can find Catalyst at Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. You can hear the podcast created through Spreaker on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, iHeart, and Amazon. The Catalyst has the power to create change, and we hope that's what this podcast will do. If you would like to be a part of this podcast as a guest or a contributor, you can email us at catalystmotivation561@gmail.com. catalystmotivation561@gmail.com. Welcome to episode 36 of the Catalyst Podcast. And today, we're diving into a concept that might sound a little strange at first, but trust me, it's got some serious power to change your game. We're talking about something that I've been hearing a lot about, and I know it's something that's happened to me before, but I never really knew what to name it. We're talking about functional freezing. Now, before you picture yourself getting stuck in some kind of cryo chamber like Captain America, or going into one of those cryo chambers like I go into, let me break it down for you. So, functional freezing isn't about physically stopping yourself in your tracks. It's a mental strategy, a conscious decision to hit the pause button on your emotions and reactions in face of a challenge. Now think about it. Life throws you curveballs. We all experience moments that trigger anger, frustration, maybe even a little bit of panic. And in those moments, our natural instinct is to react impulsively, right? We lash out, we make decisions based on knee-jerk emotions, and we often end up creating more problems than we solve. Now, functional freezing is about interrupting that cycle. It's about taking a conscious breath, stepping back from the situation, and giving yourself that crucial space to think clearly. As author Tim Ferriss says, it's better to vaguely correct than definitely wrong. It's better to be vaguely correct than definitely wrong. Functional freezing allows you to just do that, okay? So, here's the scenario. You're at work, giving a presentation, and somebody throws out a question that completely throws you off track. Your mind goes blank. Your heart starts racing. And you feel the familiar fight or flight response kick in. That's the perfect time to functionally freeze. Excuse yourself for a bathroom break, take a few deep breaths, and mentally strategize your response. Now, functional freezing isn't about bottling up your emotions. It's about acknowledging them, giving them space, and then coming back to a situation with a cool head and a clear plan. Think of it like hitting the pause button on your remote control. You're not turning the TV off entirely. You're just giving yourself a chance to collect your thoughts before you dive back in. Now, this approach can be applied to all sorts of situations, from work conflicts to personal disagreements. And, here's another example, okay? Let's say you're arguing with your significant other, right? The emotions are running high, things are getting a little heated. Instead of escalating the situation, functionally freeze it. Take a break, go for a walk, and come back to the conversation when you've both had a chance to calm down. I've actually had this happen to me recently, and when a situation kind of gets heated, whether it be recently or when I'm even thinking about it in my past, I would remove myself from the situation. Now, in the past, it would have been a little bit more dramatic, slamming a door, bouncing, or throwing something. Now it's a little bit more you know what, need to kind of take a moment away from this. And one of the things that I appreciate now and I enjoy now that I'm able to do that in that way. I'm able to kind of take a step back and not act out emotionally, but take it rationally. And it's great because I now have a partner who this is something that we're both working on together, where instead of kind of going into an emotional response, we kind of give ourselves a chance to kind of collect ourselves and come back when we're both able to speak about it in an adult, calm way. And it's so unbelievably honest and refreshing and different than anything I've done before. So it's a definite evolution when you're able to respond in that kind of method, and you really kind of see yourself in a different light when you do start to take care of that. So, all right, so you're probably asking yourself, how can I, now that I kind of figured out what this thing is I've been doing all this time, how can I implement this in my life? Well, here's a couple of things you might want to look at, or here's a couple of tips. First one, recognize your triggers. What situations typically send you into an emotional overdrive, right? Is it, is there a button that gets pushed? Is it your stress levels? Like, what is it? Once you know what the trigger is, then you can start anticipating them and then prepare your freeze response. Like if it's a situation with my son, and it might be a question that he might not feel comfortable talking about, or some kind of topic, and it might be something I'm not prepared for or even prepared to hear. Take that moment and kind of go, you know what? This sounds like this is a situation that I kind of need to put a little bit of thought into. Just give me a minute. We'll come back to it. I definitely want to talk to you about it. Kind of, find out what it is. It's going to be a lot of trial and error. It's going to be a lot of work. All right? But recognize what the triggers are. Practice mindfulness. Right? Be aware of the situation, be aware of you and who you are and how you react. And then do things that can put you into that more conscious state. Meditation, deep breathing exercises. They can help you become more aware of your emotions and develop the ability to detach from them in a moment. So it's not like we're not recognizing them. We are recognizing them, but what we need to do is take a step away from the emotion. And that's what functional freezing really does. Finally, develop a freeze phrase. Pick a word or a short sentence that serves as your mental cue to hit the pause button. Something like, take a breath, or time out. I need a minute is mine. I need a minute. Can I have a minute? All right. Things like that can really, really work wonders for you. So, recognize your triggers. Practice mindfulness. Bring yourself to a state of awareness. And develop a freeze phrase. So it's kind of like that's your button. Not just for you, but for those around you. It could really, really be helpful for them to say, they need a minute. Okay, so remember this. Functional freezing isn't about becoming, emotionless robots. Not at all. It's about giving yourself the power to choose your response instead of letting your emotions choose you. Okay? Choose your response instead of letting your emotions choose you. I like that. So, here's a takeaway for today. All right? Here's what I want us all to do. So, this week, pay attention to the situation where you feel your emotions starting to take over. Take a conscious breath, and then ask yourself, can I functionally freeze in this moment? Okay? See if that pause button approach makes a difference in how you handle the situation. So again, pay attention to a situation where you feel your emotions starting to take over, and then take that breath. Can I functionally freeze in this moment? And if you can, see what happens. Go ahead and take it. Give it a try. We don't know until we try something, right? Well, thank you so much. I'm going to be doing a blog with this topic as well too, that you'll probably see in the next few weeks. So you're going to see a lot of coordination of the podcast and the blog, kind of taking a little extension from one to another, and I hope you like it. And if you do have any questions or comments, please definitely send us a message. You can email us at catalystmotivation561@gmail.com, or you can click on the link on any one of our sites, and we'd love to hear from you. So thank you. This was episode 36 of the Catalyst Podcast, raw, real, and unedited. And my name is Jason. You can find Catalyst at Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. You can hear the podcast created through Spreaker on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, iHeart, and Amazon. A catalyst has the power to create change, and we hope that's what this podcast will do. Now, if you would like to be a part of this podcast as a guest or a contributor, you can email us at catalyst561@gmail.com. Catalyst561gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening to episode 36 of the Catalyst Podcast. We look forward to hearing and speaking to you and talking to you, all three of you, on episode 37. So thank you so very much for listening to the Catalyst Podcast. Again, my name is Jason. Go be great.